we shut the world's economy down. And the shortages and the price of fuel and price of food and food storage running out of food. I've never seen this. Things are bad and they're going to get worse.
This week's specials with Miles Franklin Precious Metal Investments. 2022 Gold Britannias for only $79 over spot. 2022 Silver Britannias for only $3.75 over spot. And 2021 Silver Philharmonics for only $3.75 over spot. Call us at 1-888-81-LIBERTY. That's 1-888-815-4237. Hey everyone, this is Elijah K. Johnson with Liberty in Finance. And with us today is Bob Moriarty, the author of Basic Investing in Resource Stocks. And also he has a gold blog that he's been running since the early 2000s. Bob, thank you so much for joining us today. Yeah,
it's a genuine pleasure. And it's good timing.
Definitely good timing. There's a lot of crazy things going on in America and in the world, really, if you look at the whole COVID situation and everything. What I wanted to first start out with is the economy. How do you think the financial system has really been impacted, really in the last year and a half, by the whole COVID situation?
Strange enough, it wasn't COVID that impacted the economy. It was the reaction to COVID in the same way that 9/11 did not cause Afghanistan. It was the reaction to 9/11 that caused all the chaos of the last 20 years. Basically, we shut the world's economy down. And the shortages and the price of fuel and price of food and food storage running out of food. I've never seen this. I don't know anybody who predicted it. I'm 75 years old. My entire life, I have never walked into a food store where they were running out of food. So things are bad and they're going to get worse. The Chicago police is about to lose 50% of their police force. Many hospitals are about to lose 25 to 30% of their physicians and their nurses. And we can't afford to do that. We've got an economy that is broken now because of the government's overreaction to COVID. We're in a bad place. I'm starting to see glimmers of sanity coming back. Labor unions are going on strike because they certainly recognize that their wages are not going up, but their expenses are going up. We've done so many foolish things. We've just jacked the debt of the United States through the roof. You're close enough to the mining business. The mining business has been crippled by a 6-month delay in assays. You cannot drill a project and have to wait 6 months for an assay and do it professionally. You don't know what the hell you're doing because you don't know what you've done.
How do you see the economy and all of that getting worse, impacting, for example, the stock market and gold, silver? If we want to start with how do you see this all impacting the precious metal markets?
Okay, well, let's backtrack just a little bit because all of these things are related. Anyone who has read my 2 investment books, one is Nobody Knows Anything and the other is Basic Investing in Resource Stocks, knows I'm a contrarian. I'm going to tell you something that nobody's ever said to you before. To profit in an investment, you do not have to know anything about the investment. That's true of the bond market. It's true of the housing market. It's true of the art market. It's true of gold. It's true of silver. It's true of resource stocks. What you do have to know is human behavior. When everyone wants to buy Bitcoin, what should you do?
Sell at that point because everyone's jumping in and it's a bubble.
How much do you have to know about Bitcoin to make that decision?
That's really interesting. You don't need to know anything.
You don't need to know anything. Well, that's not strictly true. You don't need to know anything about Bitcoin. Okay. Now, one of the selling points of Bitcoin, everybody hates me when I blast Bitcoin, but Bitcoin's nothing but an electronic beanie baby. There are 7,000 variations of Bitcoin. Okay. So how is something rare if there are 7,000 variations of it? And the answer is it's not rare at all. But when everybody wants to buy gold, you should sell. When everybody wants to buy the stock market, you should sell. When everybody wants to buy the bond market, you should sell. When nobody wants to buy market, and absolutely I encourage everybody, one, read The Fourth Turning. It's the most valuable book you will ever read. And two, go to StockWatch or Stockhouse or CEO.ca and look at the volume on resource stocks today, and it's near zero. And I make the point in the book, you know you're near a turning point when people don't even want to buy or sell a stock. There's the least interest. So do you need to study the country? Do you need to study the commodity? Do you need to study management? No, you don't need to study any of those. In a gold resource stocks bull market, what happens to gold stocks?
Gold stocks normally outperform the price of gold.
I'm not saying that. You're taking it one step too far. In a gold resource stock bull market, what happens to gold stocks?
They rise.
Okay. In a bear market, what do?
They fall.
Okay, that's all you need to know. Okay, everybody wants to make it complicated. Everybody goes into a lot of technical stuff. It doesn't mean you don't need to know it all. Now, I talk about how people feel about commodities all the time. Now, this is very interesting. We're doing this on Wednesday. What is happening with the Dow Jones, the S&P, and the NASDAQ right now? The high in all three of those was between about August 15th and September 3rd. We're touching the highs, the all-time highs in all three of those right now. Now, when you buy any investment, do you want to buy at the high or do you want to sell at the high?
You want to sell at the high.
Yeah, that's true. Now, I have predicted a crash in October, and we're going to know in the next 10 days or so if I'm correct or not. And if I'm correct, I'm going to look really smart. If I'm wrong, I'm going to look really stupid. Now, sentiment in every measure for the S&P and the Dow and the NASDAQ and the bond market and Bitcoin, sentiment has been wildly bullish and gone to extremes that didn't happen in 1968, didn't happen in 2000, and didn't happen in 1929. We're on a verge of the greatest financial collapse in history. And you can't really blame it on COVID. It's just markets run in cycles, and it's time for a monster crash, and it will be the biggest crash in history. Now, let's go to gold and silver, and let's differentiate between gold and silver in metals and gold and silver resource stocks. Here's how I define it. Do you have insurance on your car?
Yeah.
Do you want to collect on that insurance?
No, that'd be silly.
It would be silly. You need it, but you don't necessarily want to collect on it. Gold and silver in metal form are nothing but an insurance policy. It doesn't make a rat's ass if you buy at the top or not. It's an insurance policy. And everybody should own gold and silver or platinum or palladium or rhodium because they are an insurance policy against financial chaos. And the one thing I'll guarantee, and I hate the word guarantee, the one thing I'll guarantee is we are headed for financial chaos like we have never had before in history. Therefore, owning an insurance policy would be a good idea because the house is burning down and you can still buy an insurance policy on the house. Now, if you actually want to make some money, and you raised a very good point, if gold and silver go up, gold and silver stocks should go up more. And that's true. But resource stocks are to profit on. And it's quite simple. If you will buy when they're cheap and sell them when they're expensive, you'll make money. If you want to buy when they're expensive and sell when they're cheap, you won't.
What are some of the indicators that people should look for? Is it just price? That if it looks like it's cheap, I mean, how do people tell that a particular resource stock is cheap?
Well, they could look at the chart. XYZ stock is the lowest price it's been in the last year. Is it cheap or is it expensive? Okay, now that is not a prediction of the future. Okay, if you bought into a stock at $1 and it drops to 50 cents and that's the low for the year, that may not be the all-time low. It may go lower than that, but buying it at 50 cents is a lot cheaper than buying it at $1. There's a ton of information. I would highly encourage people. I mean, go to Amazon. I've got 2 good investment books. I think it costs $10 for both of them total. You have to be a contrarian if you're going to profit. You want to buy when stuff's cheap and sell when it's expensive. I know somebody who bought Nova Gold at 30 cents a share in 2000, and he watched it rise to $20 a share. When you buy a stock and it's going up day after day after day, what should you do?
Definitely sell it.
Yeah, because if you don't sell at a profit, what's the only other alternative?
You're selling at a loss.
Exactly. And what everybody does, and a guy called me up, this is a really funny story. This goes back to, I think, 2004, 2005. I correctly predicted the bottom in gold and silver in 2001. And there was a stock that I wrote up. And a guy called me up when the stock was about 70 cents a share. He said, I bought that stock when you wrote about it. It was 12 cents stock. And it's 70 cents now. What should I do? And I said, well, why did you buy it? And he said, well, I wanted to make a profit. I said, well, if you wanted to make a profit, why don't you sell it? No, because it could go higher. Well, yeah, it could go higher, but it could also go down, okay? You've got a great profit. You made a wonderful investment. You made 500% on your money. Sell part or all of it. The stock literally topped a few days later, 75 cents a share. So years later, somebody called me up. And I thought, I recognize this guy's voice. And he asked me about another stock. And I said, wait a minute. Have you ever called me before? He said, yeah. He said, I bought XYZ at 12 cents, and you said I should sell part or all of it at 70 cents. I said, what do you do? And he said, there's long pregnant silence. And pregnant silences tell you a lot. He said, well, I sold it. Okay, but what price did you sell it? I sold it at 6 cents. I said, why the hell didn't you sell it when it was 70 cents? Why didn't you sell part of it? And he said, well, I thought it was going higher. You just made a 58-cent profit on a 12-cent stock. I mean, that's incredible. But it is the nature. Investors, if they want to make money, have to learn to be contrarians. They have to do exactly the opposite of what everybody else is doing. And they have to understand why they're doing it. Now, we're not fish, and we're not sheep, and we're not cattle, and we don't travel in herds. If you want to make money, you have to be an individual. And that's why things like reading about the fourth turning is important. That's why my books are important, because my books are really simple. You can read either one of them in 2 hours.
And as it has to do, as we are talking about investing right now, you mentioned how you really see, probably the worst financial crisis that any of us have ever experienced. As we look at the stock market, as you mentioned, hitting again, testing those all-time highs, where do you see the stock market heading, and what are your thoughts on any investors who are currently invested in the general stock market?
Well, first of all, if they've got a profit, they should take it. Okay. Cash is an investment. Most people don't think of it as an investment. Cash is absolutely investment. If you got a profit, you take it. One of the smartest guys I know says the general stock market is going to literally blast 20% higher, and then it's going to crash. And I believe it's going to crash from here because the sentiment across the board with almost every measure is more extreme than it's ever been. So I know there is going to be a crash, and the only question is the crash after a 20% higher move, or is it right now? And I'll tell you in a week.
One of the key things that you just said, though, was who cares if the stock goes higher from here, right? So if the stock market rises that extra 20%, but then falls significantly, would it be better maybe to just take your chips off the table now?
Yeah, of course. Okay. You can never lose money by taking a profit. It's the hardest thing for people to understand. I say some things in the book that are so simple that nobody else says them, first of all, and investors don't understand. And one of the concepts that I talk about is stocks go up and stocks go down. And believe it or not, there's a lot of people, oh, my stock went down. My reaction is, well, duh. Okay. Stocks are supposed to do that. I mean, stocks go up, stocks go down. It's not the end of the world. People tend to make things too complicated. They want to travel with the herd. They want to do what is popular. And in all of those situations, they're going to lose money. You should buy things when they're cheap, and you can sell them when you can at a profit. The biggest mistake that I've made over the last 20 years, and I'll be candid to any investor who says he doesn't make mistakes is a liar, is I didn't trade stocks when I could have. I should have done a lot more trading. When you buy a stock at 40 cents and it goes to $9, you should sell all of it. You should buy stocks because you want to make money, and you should sell them when you've made money. And that's not particularly difficult to understand, but most people don't get it.
I think that's such a good point. And if we are going to see this major financial crash, the traditional vehicles for investing, stocks and bonds, are not going to fare well. So your perspective also, I mean, you've given your perspective on the stock market. What about the bond market right now?
Well, the bond market's had a 30-year rally. What happens after a 30-year rally?
Well, after a 30-year rally, it seems like it would be time to have a bear market.
Yeah, exactly. No investing is complicated. Writers make it complicated. They deliberately confuse things. But if you've had a 30-year bull market, you're going to have a 30-year bear market. If you look at the debt situation in the world, I mean, bonds, the only faster way to lose money is to take a stack of $100 bills, soak them in gasoline, and burn them.
So in this environment, it seems like people are going to have to be a bit more contrarian, as you are, and really think outside of the box. Well,
that's true anytime. It's not true today because of today. It's always true. If you're a contrarian, you can make money in any market. There was a time to buy Bitcoin. There was a time to buy real estate. There was a time to buy bonds. There was a time to buy stocks. There was a time to buy gold. But it's just as true that there's a time to sell it. And it should be, if you invest to make money, you have to sell at a profit. If you do anything else, you're going to lose money.
All right. Well, Bob Moriarty, thank you so much for your time today. Before we let you go, did you want to share with the viewers where they can find your books, where they can find your blog, and also any last thoughts you'd like to add?
Okay, that's very kind of you. I published about 7 books. They're all available on Amazon. All you have to do is put in Robert Moriarty. There are 2 investment books, Nobody Knows Anything, which is true, and Basic Investing in Resource Stocks. And for $10, I mean, you can learn things that nobody else writes about. They're good books. The website is 321 Gold and 321 Energy, and we post updates literally every day.
Bob Moriarty, thank you so much for your time today, and once again, God bless.
Thank you. It's been a real pleasure. We need to do this again.
This is Dunnigan Kaiser, founder of Liberty and Finance. I'm now a licensed gold and silver broker for Miles Franklin. Call me directly for the physical gold and silver that you need at the best price with personalized private service from one of the oldest and best companies in the business. 31 years strong, A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, 0 complaints, licensed and bonded. For physical delivery, vault storage, or precious metals IRAs, excellent prices, privacy, and confidentiality. Pay by check, money order, ACH, bank wire, or Bitcoin. Satisfaction guaranteed. For fastest service, just call 1-888-81-LIBERTY. That's 888-81-LIBERTY. And either I or one of my sons and fellow brokers will call you back as soon as we can and understand your needs.